Hey everybody, Tommy Scoville, and you're on the Lifeboat. Bacon Bits, Ben Turner, hemochroma. It went by really quickly, but it didn't sound good. The inability for the blood to carry oxygen sounds bad. Thoughts and prayers with you, my brother. I hope you're doing all right. Fancy Nancy, good to see you. Kestrel, what's happening? Plant Freak, how you doing? Debbie, good to see you. Monk, Sandy Wendy, what's happening? Matrix Rabbit, how am I? Well, we don't know. Yep. Hey, Ray, what's happening? Ray, you. I don't know if you can see that, Ray. Did you catch that? A little artwork back there, brother. Camellia, what's happening? Jen Marie, Janet G, and Hummingbird. Brazy, what are you doing? Seventh Son, there he is. Kristen Melinda, Janet J. Wow, hi, Hokey. Henny, I miss you too. Happy Easter, huh? And from Mass, what's happening? Good to see you, Jason. Davey. Is he always a pleasure? Doc. Creepy. How you doing? Creepy. Miss Dragon. Have a blessed Easter. My friend Sarah from Boston. And SB. All right, let's fire this thing up, shall we? So, let's see. It's a holiday weekend. I can think of about 40 things I probably needed to get done today, and I didn't do any of them. I'll be really honest with you, though. I chose not to today, which is really a big step for me. I literally just said, I'm not doing any of this today. Not my thing, I'll be honest. It's usually not the direction I go in. But I just said, you know what? I started to have some really horrific nightmares, for lack of a better way to put it. Tiffy Tiff, Fall River, Massachusetts. I know it well. I did spend time with family, but you know what else I did? Huh? I started going through a few emails, and there were some people that were questions, and I had a flash forward. You know what a flashback is, right? I had a flash forward, and the flash forward had about 65 emails of people complaining to me about this product, that product, things that right now I'm about to start selling. And you know something? I'm an idiot. I really am. I'm an idiot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell people where you can go and get this stuff, but it ain't going to have nothing to do with me. I'm sorry, it's not. It's done wonders for me, but I released this product and it means answering questions about this product. I'd rather jump off of a bridge. No joke. I love you guys. I really do. But the writing on the wall for this is horrific. It really is. It took about an hour to run that back and really start thinking about it and see in the direction that I could be going in. That is, I mean, frightening. No offense to all of you, because I love you, I do. And every one of you, one at a time, I love more than anything on planet Earth, right? But 6,000 of you send an email at once, and I'll be honest. Boy, oh boy, I'd like to throw a switch. I wish that they aired in jail too, Tina. To be really honest with you, there's not much that I could think of that would be better than this airing in prison. For real. But I don't know that I think we're probably a pinch away from this at this moment. Let's talk about wanting to get high. Let's talk about wanting to get high. By the way, you know that there's not anything wrong with wanting to get high, right? It is honestly your default setting. It has been your default setting for most of us our entire lives. So when it's a shocker, right, that I decide that I want to get high, I mean, it shouldn't be a shocker for anybody, but days like today, boy, oh boy. Sorry. So let's talk about wanting to get high. It is part of it, Tiffy Tiff. It's absolutely part of it. And you're right, it sucks. It's an unfortunate part of it. Here's the good news. It's 8 minutes. I mean, honestly, the craving part. The craving part is the part that makes you want to get, the actual, ooh, right? Okay, those parts are easy to get over, but I've been doing it all day. Not the craving. The craving, I can knock that out like that. That's no big deal. But it's the fantasy and all of the other stuff, right? And it's normal. You're at 12,500 steps. Whoa, Miss Dragon, on a holiday. You get that feeling a bunch, says B. Hendricks. It's okay. Valerie says, I want to drink so bad. I tried to convince myself that that nausea today would be cured by a little nip. I love you, Valerie. Oh, come on. Who hasn't done this brain gymnastics, right? Who hasn't done the mental gymnastics required to go, one shot of bourbon would probably just knock my stomach out, wouldn't it? I mean, that would just take the edge off. My stomach would feel fantastic. Well, I'm glad you didn't. I won't lie to you. I did the same things today. I just did them differently, right? Self-medicating, says Catalina. I did the same. I will never. So here's always. We'll keep it real here. What do you do? What do you do if you're me? So I take 2 milligrams of Suboxone a day. That is a quarter of a strip, right? It's a quarter of a strip. So that's, you take the Suboxone, and you cut that thing into 4 pieces, right? Now I can take the Suboxone and I can eat the other 3 quarters. It's not going to have any effect on me at all. None, right? I could eat another strip on top of that, right? So I could eat a strip and 3 quarters of a strip. Anything over 2, and they say you're really not getting anything other than that. Will even the bioavailability, right? Your ability for your body to bring it in. You start getting into an issue because for every 4 milligrams, right? For every 8 milligrams of Suboxone, right? You've got Narcan put in it. So the more you start taking it, eventually the Narcan and the whole bioavailability thing gets very, very jinky. And the more of it you take, the less of it gets into your system. It's almost genius. But that's probably the first thought as a guy like me, right? Well, I could take more of the Suboxone, but Suboxone doesn't get you high. So now, normally I would do that. Literally, I would do it just because it's good for the dome, right? No harm, no foul. If I take the other 3 quarters of a strip, it doesn't do anything to me, but my brain might go, ooh, yeah. We painted those receptors real good today. I feel better, right? Psychosomatic, I promise. They're not doing a damn thing to me. But today I didn't do it. Normally I would. You know why I didn't? Because I did it like 3 times already this month, maybe 4 times already this month, where I started feeling a little stressed and went, screw it, I'll eat the whole strip today. It doesn't do anything. But we're addicts, right? So you do this. Someone who has been sober for 7 years on Suboxone. You know somebody else that's been sober for 8. You know somebody else that's been sober for 12. You know somebody else that's been sober for 14. There's a bunch of us here on Suboxone. A bunch of us. You take 4 milligrams a day. Good. Half a strip. That's good. I was at that. That's where I was 2.5, 3 months ago. Thank you, my friend. Love back at you. Please be safe. Tough part of the world right now. Please be safe. You've been known to do that with your Xanax. Jen Marie, we all do this with our drug of choice. We all do this with our drug of choice. Methadone, sure, same thing. Now, methadone's a little bit different. Now, it's probably not for somebody who's taking methadone every day, right? Because I was on methadone for a long time. Suboxone is a block, right? It is a block that you take so that you no longer feel the need to get high on opiates. Very fascinating drug. It's an agonist and an antagonist. And what it does is it makes you believe that you just fixed. It makes your brain believe that you just did dope. Now you don't feel high, right? Jason P, I'm so sorry to hear that. I really am. This is something I think everybody kind of needs to hear. I'm going to say this a couple of times. If somebody got a hold of your Suboxone and somebody got a hold of your methadone, the person who gets a hold of that methadone's life is in serious danger. About 100 times worse than the person who got a hold of the Suboxone. They're going to get sick. The person that got a hold of the Suboxone, if they take a bunch of it, they're going to get sick, and they're going to get really, really sick. Izzy E, I hope that we take you off to sleep here, and I hope that you feel better. I'm a little run down myself, man. B. Hendricks says, I put down the bottle because the buzz got old, really old. I love that. I really do. And you're not, that's not a unique thing. I hear this all the time from people who say, you know what? It just got old. And Hummingbird, I think you should be here tonight, but that decision is yours. If I'm triggering you, run. You know, we'll be back tomorrow. Um, if I'm triggering you, I apologize. They're not. I wish that everything I did was a pep talk, but I'll be really honest with you. Sometimes it's hard, right? And there are days that aren't great. Today's one of them. Um, you know, in Washington State, when I first had it, you had to be given it in the hospital for 3 days maximum by law. Amazing, right? The things that, God help us. God help us. On the bright side, we seem to be catching up a little bit with some of the treatments. Hey, Tommy Bird, enjoy those nods when they come legit. That doesn't happen very often, right? I occasionally will nod off without drugs, and I love it. I'm not gonna. It's always something that just feels phenomenal to me. It doesn't happen a lot, but holy hell. He says, "Hey, Captain. Hey, crew. Great to catch you live tonight. Feels like it's been a while. For some reason, I'm half asleep and just nodding off. Not the old nodding, the new, because I'm old. Seen it though. Yeah. Saved your life. You were doing heroin for the pain. Yeah. Miranda Lee, where are you? Where are you, Miranda Lee? What part of the world are you talking to me from? I love naturally nodding off, but not very lucky with that. Jen Marie, you and me both, hon. It doesn't happen very often. And why does you know when it happens? When I'm driving. Right when I'm behind the wheel of a car. Happy to be here. Happy to be off booze for a bit. Happy that I just hiked 3,000-foot elevation. Tina, how good does that feel, huh? How good does that feel? We were just looking up the height of Finger Mountain, which is just a little bit higher than that. I think we were doing some 6,000 something feet, so it's about 3,000 above where I'm at currently. It's a really good hike though. That's a good one. You have no idea what nodding off is? It is like sleep. It's a little bit. So everyone has done this, whether you've been on drugs or not in your life. We've all gotten to that point. You've done it so many times that you just don't realize you've done it unless there's someone there to catch you. Like you ever been in the middle of a conversation and it's getting late at night and you're talking to your significant other or a roommate or somebody that you're working with and you do that thing where you just sort of nod off and they catch you and there's that moment where everybody kind of laughs. That moment right as you're drifting off before you catch yourself. Well, that is referred to as the nod. And heroin addicts spend long periods of time in that moment between sleep and not sleep. I don't know that anybody called it the nod. I'm not aware of anybody in popular culture referring to it as the nod prior to Jim Carroll's book, The Basketball Diaries, which was really his journal. That's all it was. They printed his journals that he wrote when he was strung out. Wrote a lot of poetry, wrote a lot of really beautiful. I mean, if you don't know Jim Carroll's work, I hope you find it and I hope you read it. Jim Carroll, especially if you've had any problems with addiction, the things that Jim Carroll wrote, especially if your addiction happens to be in opiates, what he writes will speak to you. I promise. You and sleep have a contentious relationship. You have to trick yourself into falling asleep every night. It's really, really. He wrote some good songs too, right? Bobby Sniffing Glue, 12 years old, fell from the roof on East 29. Kathy was 11 when she pulled the plug, 26 Reds and a bottle of wine. Johnny was 11. Bobby got leukemia, 14 years old. He looked like 65 when he died. That was, if you read the Basketball Diaries, his best friend got leukemia and it destroyed him. That was one of the big catalysts for him going from heroin user to heroin abuser, was him losing his best friend. Great movie says Matrix Rabbit. I always did heroin for my fake pain. I convinced myself was legit. And horrid little did I understand at that time, it was fine because it was only the fake cure. Yeah, right? Yeah, fake cure for fake pain. And I know that people get really upset when I call it fake pain, but Tommy knows what I'm talking about. It is fake pain. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, people. I promise you that the pain is literally. Hold on one second. I don't care. Please tell me that you watch Family Guy. It's all good. It is all good. And Hummingbird. Hold on a second. Did I miss something that you typed? It's so. I wish you guys could see how this stuff comes across, because I'm never blowing any of you off. I promise I'm not. I don't see you. And Hummingbird, are you okay? Phantom pain is still pain. There's no question. The permanent nod, I've watched too many people nod off and then not come back. And that's exactly what it is, right? No, Tiff, you cannot use heroin for your pain or you will be dead. There is no heroin anymore. Everybody get that memo? There's no such thing, right? I promise. If you're doing it, it isn't what you think you're doing. I promise. Okay? There's nobody left. Honestly, the people that I talk to now from the life, there's nobody left. They're all dead. I don't know anybody that I knew. I knew some guys in prison that are still using, but I don't know anybody on the street that is still participating in this, because it's gone. It's been replaced by this fentanyl, right? Or by nitazines, or by any of the other stuff, right? South Park guy yourself, I got that. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend, the author. You know what? Tina says, I think it takes a lot of courage to get off addictions. I think sometimes it is all fentanyl now, Tiffy Tiff. It really is. No, I didn't freeze. My brain is freezing is what it is. Yeah. Cat Kaplan says, blows my mind that heroin's gone. Especially when you consider how much money was in it, right? But you have to make it. You have to manufacture it. There's a very long process. This is everybody pay attention to this, because I really think that this is a lot of people on planet Earth, right? Except this cat here is honest enough to admit it. Tommy, why aren't folks in prison falling as much to these overdoses? Are they? And that we're not hearing about it. Kestrel asks. Number one, we're not hearing about the overdoses. There are a bunch of them. Friends from inside are telling me about it. However, you're also talking about, not sorry, junkies. You're talking about guys that don't do dope the way the rest of the world does dope. I promise. Guys in prison. Now, take me, for instance. I got a 7 gram a day habit on the street. You think I'm doing 7 grams a day in prison? Do you know what 7 grams a day in prison would cost me? Huh? $6,000 a day. No joke. Right? It was about $750 a gram, give or take, in there. So sometimes 500. If on the cheapest yard I ever saw was $250 a gram, which is close to street as you're going to get, right? But there's no way. People buy smears on pieces of paper. So even though they're doing really, really small amounts, they're doing it every day, but they're doing really small amounts of this fent. The other thing is, it's not what most people in there are doing, right? Honestly, there's more money in Suboxone. That's what the dealers in there are pushing, because you get this little piece of film, right? Dogs can't smell it. It's way easier to get it in. People can't overdose on it, right? So the prisons, I promise you, may back off a little. I'm not kidding. I think they're a lot happier with Suboxone in prison than they are heroin in prison. A person will take one of those strips and cut it into 32 pieces. Now you got 32, chunks off of that. Nobody's overdosing on that. People get sick, but nobody is going to die, from it. And I think that they like it. It's sad, but it's the truth. I have a couple of beers a night, but that's it. I never use drugs, and I don't understand addiction. I think that hey, Lisa, too sick to chat. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers for my friend Lisa from New Jersey. Hello, Lisa. Sorry, hon. I've got my glasses on. Did you notice? I'm being a good boy. I usually had a few on my time off, but did fall off the wagon once in a while. Drops Family Garden. So here's the deal. Addiction is something that you can't understand unless you can, right? Plain and simple. This is why group therapy is what it is. You can't understand this stuff, right? It is that which cannot be understood. It's the reason that there is a bond among people who have been addicted to substances that others cannot explain. The bond is based on the fact that you know something I can't explain to anybody else, right? I don't have to. Breezy girl, right? No explanation at all. I don't need to explain anything to her at all. If I just say, you know what? I needed this stuff. I couldn't live without it. Nobody goes, wait a sec. What? Why would you do this? It doesn't make any sense at all. You just got out of prison. You're going to do stuff that you're going to do the same crap that put you in prison. Why would you ever get out and do it again? This makes less than no sense, right? Except to an addict who goes, oh, no, I know exactly why he got out of it. Because he was uncomfortable. He was so uncomfortable in his own skin that the only thing he could do, right, was take the cure. Because the fake cure that Tommy Bird was talking about, that's it. The problem is the sickness is real. The cure is fake. That sickness, that feeling that you just can't make it in your own skin without a feeling, that's real. Question, do they fake the tar, Captain? If even that is Fent these days, I haven't seen any for years, but I have a sister-in-law swear that's what she's hooked on, tar. Absolutely. Here's how it works. You get a 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle, right? You dump it into a pot, and you put it on the stove and you start to boil it. And you keep that at a simmer until you boil everything out of there except that high fructose corn syrup crap, right? That you get down at the bottom, and it's thick and gooey and absolutely disgusting, right? Then they take a shot of vinegar and they throw that in there. And there's a couple of some powdered stuff they put in there, Clabber Girl, a couple of other things that to get the stuff so that it's not as goopy and as sticky. But they create the vinegar smell, they create the goopy crap, and then they dump in the Fent, right? And then this all gets blended up, right? And then they roll the crap out like Christmas candy. I'm not even being funny, right? You roll the crap out like Christmas candy, and then they just start cutting it down the road into chunks about this big. Then they'll roll those into balls, right? Weigh them out, get them down to tenths. And there's very, very little anything in there. It's just fugazi. It's something that they make that now it'll break down in water, right? It'll break down in water and not leave a whole bunch of funk in the spoon. It also has to be able to burn on tin foil without leaving a whole lot of funk on the tin foil. Now, the high fructose corn stuff is very, very distinctive. And most people that smoked tar back in the day could tell you where it came from, because the stuff that used to come from Afghanistan didn't have any sugary kind of a cut. They didn't have that. They honestly used goat crap, but made for a very different tasting substance when you smoked it. But yeah, there's all kinds of fake tar all over the place, Tommy Bird, and it's not too hard to make. It really is not too hard to make. Have I ever heard of jet fuel? Debbie, I've heard a lot of people who have used the word jet fuel to describe a lot of different drugs. I've heard meth called jet fuel. I've heard cocaine called jet fuel a lot. But with anytime you get a nickname like that, I mean, there are just it's like pink cocaine, right? We did a show on pink cocaine. Pink cocaine doesn't have any cocaine in it, but it's called pink cocaine, right? And it's one of those things that a lot of people got around in the term. So I don't know exactly what their the jet fuel is, but that smell though, yeah, very often meth, the jet fuel thing. There's a very heavy kind of, depending on which recipe, because there's a bunch of ways you can make meth. However, there's two basically Peruvian marching powder. There are two basic methods to how you make meth, right? There is a cold cook and there's a hot cook. Logically, one requires a Bunsen burner. Guess which one? Calhoun says the hot one. Yeah, well done. My kid's pretty quick though. As I'm leaving on a jet plane, starter fluid usually. Well, you know what? They use some Coleman fuel in the process of washing the stuff. Yeah, he says, I don't know all these terms, but I can tell when someone is on meth, cocaine, or heroin. Yeah, well, if you drove truck, especially if you were OTR, right? If you were a trucker that was doing long haul stuff, then my guess is that you ran into a lot of people that were using meth to drive long distances, right? Wow. Damn, that's frightening. I learned so much about drugs from my DARE program, but when we cooked things in chem class, we went with the bang bangs for the pipe bang bang instead of drugs. How about that? Seen too many die from those. It says Drops Family Garden. What about fentanyl? So here's the deal with fentanyl, right? Real fentanyl, alpha fentanyl, the drug that they manufacture in pharmaceuticals, right? In pharmaceutical operations. Yeah, you were a long haul. Okay, owner operator, sweet. Yeah, so you saw a lot of people abusing, right? And they've changed over the years. I knew a lot of people in that line of work. I'm not making any disparaging remarks. However, a lot of people who got into, there were a lot of gangsters involved in trucking, and I knew a bunch of people that I knew a lot of guys that did that were in the trucking game, and it changed. There was a time where it was the wild, wild west, and then they started coming up with things to make sure guys weren't driving for 72 consecutive hours, right? But we had friends that used to, that we knew were abusing stuff, and they were drivers, and they would brag about being able to go from one place to another without ever going across a scale. And I'm sure you could tell stories to the end of time. There are a few news stories about my group of friends in the Inland Empire, the IE, back in the 90s. We were famous in the IE, huh? How about that, Kestrel? I lived in the IE. That's where I got stabbed, was in the IE. Yeah, I knew what you were saying. That's Victorville. Victorville, smack dab in the middle of the Inland Empire. I know exactly where you're talking about. It was 120 degrees or something. The day I got stabbed, it was so damn hot. And it had been like that for about a week. It was terrible. Okay, so fentanyl, alpha fentanyl, the stuff that is made by pharmaceutical companies in labs, is a great painkiller. Stable as hell, right? Very stable painkiller, very predictable painkiller that has a quick onset, decent legs, right? A lot of the lot lizards would flash. Yeah. I knew a lot of those people, sadly, too. A lot of heroin girls used to work the lots. I had a girl that I've talked about on here an awful lot, named Sherry, who was a prostitute I was friends with for a long time. But I would drop her off occasionally at the truck stops. I always felt horrific driving away and leaving her there, but that is what her hustle was. The thing with fentanyl, especially alpha fentanyl, is that it's dangerous as crap when abused. When taken correctly, it is super, super stable. But when abused, it is rife for abuse like nothing else. So They came up with the delivery method of using DSM or whatever that crap is called that you put onto the patch that allows the stuff to go through your skin transdermally. And they could take a 2 or 3, anywhere from 75 or 50 milligrams, I think is about the smallest I've ever seen, and gone up to like 200 milligrams or whatever. And they deliver it over a 72-hour period of time. Right. And it is, just to be clear, the fact that my thumbnail is a lizard has nothing to do with this conversation. Okay, creepy old lady. That's your story. You believe it, Calhoun? I don't know. I got a creepy old lady named Cocaine Katie who embroiders all my jeans. Hello, Lifeboat crew and Tommy. Y'all help me so much. I'm the therapist guy. Some may remember my post. Thanks for all your loving care. I love mad respect for people in this line of work, because what you do is the hardest thing on earth, right? You deal with your problems and other people's. And I hope that I hope you take all kinds of time for yourself, Shag Nasty, because it's a tough gig. I went to Upland High School, Upland Junior High School, and one of the local elementary schools. But before that, I lived everywhere in SoCal. The SoCal. You've worn the patch. Yeah, I used to buy them by the box from a person that we knew. It was a friend of Jack's who was dying of cancer, and he didn't take any pain meds, and they were giving him anything he wanted. Like, honestly, he would get together with us and we would go in and talk to him. His name was Johnny. And we would go in to talk to him, and he would say, "What do you guys want?" Because it was to the point where he could take a piece of paper and write down, I want Dilaudid, I want patches, I want this, I want that. I don't think I've ever actually put a patch on. I know that I've probably done 1,000 of them, but I don't think I ever actually stuck one to my skin. I used to cut them into fourths and chew them. I would just take, you cut it just literally into quarters, and put one in between your cheek and gum and chew that way, and that would really do the thing. That would I would be now. That drug and what is on the street are not even remotely the same drug. You understand? It's not. It's like saying that a top fuel dragster, right, and a Honda CRX are both cars, right? But they're really different, and they both can get you going in the same direction, right? They both have a gas pedal. Okay, well, these are both pain medications, but the crap that they're making on the street is so unstable, right? It is so we have no idea. What we know is this, that fentanyl in its pure form, 2 milligrams will kill you. Okay. 60% of the pills that are being pressed have more than 2 milligrams in it. Earlier question was, why aren't people in prison dying of it? Because if a pill gets into prison, that pill is probably being split up among 25 people, right? That's how small they're breaking that down. Now, that doesn't mean that one person can't get every bit of fentanyl that's in that pill, because that's kind of how it works. And they are overdosing. They're dropping like flies. They are, but they're write-offs. So you're not hearing about them, because who cares if a junkie dies? I'm sorry, but who cares if a junkie in prison dies? Trust me when I tell you, nobody else does, right? The family of that person, not too many other people, his friends. Oh, micro. Sorry about that. Micrograms? Well, that's a little bit more frightening there, Tommy Bird. It's 2 micrograms? Good Lord. Is that the truth? I've been misquoting that for that long? Well, Mo Love, you might not battle drug addiction, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't battle addiction. Wow, how amazing is that? The doctor told me 40-something years ago I had cancer. I walked out the door and never came back to a doctor. God bless you. Huh? How good is that? I know Johnny had a friend that they sent home and told them they had 6 months to live. They stitched it. They opened them up to try to work on him, and it was so metastasized they just stitched him back up, and he died of old age. But nothing having to do with cancer, and he made it a lot longer than that. It was a very, very odd thing. Mo Love, we love you, and you know what? Everybody occasionally finds themselves in a position where they feel like this is more than they can handle. Right? Now, the first thing I will tell you is this, that it's a cliche, and most cliches are cliches for good reason, right? They don't become cliches because they don't make sense. They become cliches because they make so much sense that people just continually repeat it, right? But removing ourselves from Earth is a very permanent solution. And the problem is always a temporary problem. I remember many a day where I had ideations and fantasies about removing myself from planet Earth. And I have been very open and honest here about the fact that I have attempted it. But it has been a very, very long time. And I can truly and honestly say that I am most grateful, right? I am most grateful to have survived all of those stupid attempts. You're not derailing the conversation, Mo Love. We don't really have a rail here. Patches, thank you. They're micrograms. Yep, thank you. 100 micrograms, 75, 50, 20, and 25. Thank you, Kag. Yeah, I used to just chew them. And you get to like the flavor. Isn't that terrible? Because it's not pleasant, but you just, that's how what drugs do to you, right? The affectations, you become so addicted to all of it, the process, tearing open the packaging, right? Everything. You watch people do it and they do the same thing. It just becomes so much a part of the ritual. Your great uncle Wes lived to be 123. My gosh, how incredible. Rob McMullen says 1,000 micrograms equals 1 milligram. Major difference. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I did not realize they were micrograms. I chewed up a bunch of them. But again, I never put one on. This is odd, right? But people do this. We really do. We live in a world today where if you are in the wrong direction, if you start feeling melancholy, bummed out, or sad, you can find things to wallow in, right? Unlimited. You could literally spend the rest of your time on planet Earth watching one thing after another that will make you feel maudlin and unhappy and sad and never run out. Or we can do everything within our power to try to go the other route. I survived 3 attempts, 7, 11, and 15. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm passionate about helping anyone who feels that way. God bless you. God bless you, Mona. You're a miracle. You should be passionate about helping anyone who feels that way. I think you should be. Yeah, good for you. I love that. What advice would you give to someone to just get through the night, right, without not wanting to be here anymore? Okay, here's what I would say. When I had to rebuild myself, because the person that I was a scumbag. That's it. So when I had to rebuild myself, I was in kind of a very similar situation in that I really did not want to. I was not somebody that was going to remove themselves from Earth. I wasn't, especially at that point. I had gotten so far, I wasn't going to do that. But I prayed every night that I wouldn't wake up. And that's a terrible life. It's not, right? It's very, very unhappy life. And I remember when Q, my mentor and brother, right, said to me, you need to make a list of the reasons that you need to stay here. And I said, I don't want to. He said, not you. I know what you want. You just told me what you wanted. How does your kid feel? Right? How would Spanky feel? So I started to make a list of all of the reasons that I needed to stay here. All of the reasons that the earth needed me. And on that list was not a lot about me because I hated myself. I was not very fond of me, you say. literally not very fond of me. I hated myself. So I made a list, and on that list was my son. I didn't want to do that to him, right? Like I hadn't screwed over Calhoun enough. I needed to then do that to him. No, that was big on the list. I couldn't do that to my kid. I couldn't do it to my daughter. I couldn't do it to my dad. And I started going down the list of all of the people that I could not hurt in that fashion. And that got me to the big glowing ball coming up in the morning. And I have found, and this is something that my father drilled into me when I was a kid, I have found that no matter how ugly it is, Mo, right? When the sun comes up the following day, it has a way of looking different, right? My dad used to say, never make a decision, an important one, a life decision when it's dark out, because life has a way of looking a lot different when the sun comes up. And it's excellent advice. It's excellent advice. But I really spent a lot of time concentrating on what my action would do to the people that were going to remain here. See, I had finally, for the first time in my life, come to grips with the fact that my actions have a direct effect on other people. That it wasn't just me, right? That my actions, the things that I do on this planet, literally affect everybody else on this planet. Now, there aren't a bunch of people in Thailand that were getting a whole lot of effect about the things that I was doing in my life 10 or 15 years ago. But today, I do actually have a chance at affecting people all over this place. Right? For real. Now we have the ability, everybody, not just me, you can find inspiration in the smallest of things, Mona. You're absolutely right. It's one of those situations that the greatest gift that I got from Q was the perspective of that, of the fact that I was not the center of the universe, because I thought I was. And that's not self-centered. This may sound like I'm splitting hairs, and I am, but there's a big difference here. It's self-centric, right? For real. Because here's the deal. Again, I didn't love myself. Self-centered people tend to. They tend to love themselves. I wasn't self-centered. I was self-centric. The entire world was about me. I just happened to hate me, right? But the entire world was about me. What I didn't understand was this, that I was hurting people with the stupid things that I did in my life. That, to me, that moment of realization that, yeah, I was in a lot of pain, but me making my pain go away with the use of dope, what I was doing was I was taking a little bit of pain and handing it to my son, and I was taking a little bit of pain and handing it to my mom, and I was taking a little bit of pain and handing it to my brother. The pain doesn't go away. You spread it out evenly like peanut butter on all of the people that you care about, right? That's what you do. The pain doesn't go away. You just spread it out on other people. So I got to a point where the Goblin, Q, is the man who helped me get sober. I met him in prison, and he walked up to me. I was doing heroin every day. I was beating people up for money, is what I was doing. I was collecting money for drug dealers, and in return, I got dope. So I was able to get high every day. And it wasn't a particularly good lifestyle. But I met a black guy, and I mention he's black because in federal prison, whites and blacks aren't allowed to hang out. So it is kind of part of the story. But he walked up and said, "You're either the dumbest smart person I've ever met or the smartest dumb person I've ever met. But if you don't get sober, you're going to spend the rest of your life in here." He was right. I told him I wasn't capable of getting sober, that I had a bigger habit than anyone he had ever met. He just didn't understand I was different. And then he took me and introduced me to a guy who had a much larger habit than I did. And I didn't think the guy was lying when he told me the story. I was just blown away. And did not realize how much, that somebody could literally be doing twice what I was doing, but that person existed. And I got to meet him. And he was sober, had been for a really long time. I said, "How in God's name did you do that?" He said, "This guy." Well, that was good enough for me. If I knew that if there was a guy that was doing twice as much dope as I was and that fool got sober, then I could do it. I was always one of those people that believed that if somebody else has done something, I can do it. It might take me a while. I might have to learn a different method, but if it's possible, see, I really believed it wasn't. I thought that that was an impossibility. Mo says, I don't want to burden people anymore. You know, I do. I get this. One of the reasons that I continued to do dope for so long was I became acutely aware of of the fact that I was a burden, right, to a lot of people. But let me explain to you the largest burden on planet Earth. The largest burden that you can possibly give to someone on planet Earth is unresolved trauma, right? Nothing is worse than unresolved trauma. Now, I'm of the firm belief we can resolve just about any trauma. That's the good news, right? Well, if somebody that you care about removes themselves from this planet, they are going to have unresolved trauma for the rest of the time that they're here. If you think you're a burden today, I assure you, if you decide to remove the burden from Earth, you have multiplied your problems by 10 and just left them for the people behind. You don't get to take your problems with you. It doesn't work that way. When you leave those problems. Lori! You leave those problems for the people that you love, that you leave behind. And for me, that was huge. It was huge because I'm a piece of crap. I knew that. But my kid isn't. And he sure as hell didn't have that coming, you know? Neither did anybody else that had been nice to me that entire time. I got tired of being a burden. And oddly enough, I have been able to stop being a burden. I mean, I'm sure I'm still a burden on some people, but a lot less than I used to be. I promise you that. And you got to build yourself a group of people, right? You got to build yourself a group of people who you can be honest enough about where you're at that you can just say, hey, today's one of those days I'm thinking about it. And not have anybody go, you're doing what? Right? Just people that can talk. I've stayed away from my dad for 6 months, and I've been avoiding my boyfriend and some of my cousins because I don't want to relapse. Every day is a real struggle. Mayonnaise, entertainment. I understand exactly what you're saying. Dad's a trigger. Your boyfriend's a trigger, right? And in the past, they have been a reason that you absolutely can feel like my interactions with them have caused me to use. I did this. Oh, did I do this? I wrote so many people out of my life, mayonnaise. I don't think you got any idea. Is that healthy? Oh, I don't know. Where do you find people like that, Mo Love? You're looking at them. Where do you find them? Right freaking here. That's where you find them. On the lifeboat, riding on the lifeboat, riding on the lifeboat. Calhoun, have you ever heard the Lifeboat tune? Riding on the lifeboat, lifeboat. It was Marf over at Marfoogle News who did an unbelievable Lifeboat tune. I mean, he ripped it. Yeah, don't apologize, Mo. You're among family, right? For real. I mean, apologizing for coming here and telling people that you're hurting is like apologizing for Burger King for ordering a friggin' Whopper. I love you guys, but come on, man. Logic, right? We don't apologize on the Lifeboat for sharing. That's why we come to the Lifeboat. That's why it's called the Lifeboat, right? We can call it the party boat. My boyfriend took his life because he didn't want to burden me anymore. I have to live with that burden for the rest of my life. It is so much worse than the temporary pain of what was happening, says Still Spinning. Boy, I'll tell you something. I can say that crap until I'm blue in the face, but boy, oh boy, it sounds a lot different when she says it, doesn't it? There's a life lesson right there. I could come here and say the exact same thing 500 ways. But to hear my boyfriend took his life because he didn't want to burden me anymore just sounds a lot different, doesn't it? I have to live with that burden for the rest of my life, which, by the way, I'm sorry, is a crappy thing that he did to you. So much worse than the temporary pain of what was happening. It's a terrible thing that he did. And I'm sorry, you have a right to be angry about it. I tell people this a lot because it comes up a lot. If somebody removes themselves from this earth, you got every right to be pissed. Sorry, you do. And I know that they're going through it and I know that they're hurting or whatever, but I'm sorry. We have that. I don't judge people. I don't. But boy, oh boy, what a burden to do to somebody. I'm sorry that that happened to you. Mo says, I love you all. I want to be deserving of this kindness and openness and all of you sharing your stories. I am reading through all of your comments and I don't feel alone. As cliche as that sounds, I don't know that that sounds cliche to me, hon. I don't know that that sounds all that cliche to me at all. Connection causes you to feel connected? No, I think that actually makes quite a bit of sense. I think that makes quite a bit of sense. And I'll tell you something. This is a big thing for me. This is a big thing for me. Deserving of love and kindness. I have news for you. All of you are deserving of love and kindness. Yeah, everybody here is deserving of love and kindness in unbelievable amounts of it, unlimited quantities of it. That's what all of us are deserving of. For real. And Hummingbird, we don't want you to slip away. You have a family here that loves you. It's the truth. And I know you've been going through a tough time. When people say, well, at least you got your health. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. If you've not been struggling with your health for, say, the last 6 months to a year, it's a suck thing. My health sucks. Right? It really is. My health sucks. That's how it is. I have bad health trouble. And I think a lot of people here on the boat do. Right? I know that Ann Hummingbird does. Right? And I know that this is one of the most difficult things for all of us, especially those of us who have struggled with addiction, because we would like to make the pain go away. It's in our nature. Captain, somehow while grinding down that pile of crap that was the burden, you managed to find something in there you were able to shine up and grow into a damn good dude, in my opinion. Decent dad, proud of you. Thank you, Tommy Bird. You know what, people? Tommy sent me an email when the boat was shut down, and if he didn't, the boat wouldn't be here today. It was, I read it about 100 times, and I just kept getting more angry every time I read it. I wanted to put my thumbs onto his throat because I knew he was right. And I think he sent it to Mark Wages. I think, or I did. Maybe I sent it to him after you sent it to me. But Mark and I sent a text message to each other that said, "What are we doing?" Right? Literally. And they crossed each other. It's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened in my life. Honestly, I hit send, and as I did, my words that I had sent to him, "Why are we not doing the lifeboat?" came back to me with his. It was bizarre, but I will always think of Tommy Baird as the reason behind that. All of us kids were home when my dad unalived himself. I was 12. It does not take away pain. It just causes a lifetime of pain for everyone else. An addiction for some unable to deal with it. Thank you, Tracy. That couldn't have been easy to write. And I'm sorry. Don, I'm sorry for your loss, right? I really am. I'm sorry for your loss. You have the ability to be and the right to be angry at people that OD. And that's a hard thing because we feel like somehow we're doing our friend a disservice if we go, you dumb son of a, like, I got friends that I'm angry. Like when my friends overdose, I think to myself, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, you didn't know all the dope we did. You didn't know, dumbass. Like, it really bothers me. Right. But I think that that's normal. And Hummingbird, I'll tell you what, everybody, I love the ones. So if you're brand new here, this is what the one means, right? This is the best way I've heard it. Johnny Scoville said it earlier and said it so much better than I ever have. It covers everything. That's what it is. What is it you do when you hear, oh man, that person's really having a bad time? What do you do when you hear that? Do it when we put a one up. Here you go. That's what it is, right? Covers everybody. Let's see something here. If you have reached rock bottom, sorry about that. Things are moving. If you have reached rock bottom and don't know what to do, please try giving it up to a higher power for help. On today of all days, it's worth a try. Believe it or not, still ask. You know what? No harm, no foul. Thanks, Sweet Liberty. It is probably a decent day for it. I have no problem. And you know something? If anyone has that problem, ask yourself why. If if you're a power greater than yourself can mean a whole lot of things. You know what it means to me. I've been very, very open about that, and that's I don't shove it down anyone's throat, nor will I ever avoid saying what I believe. I avoid important things, and I F up so much unnecessarily. It affects me and my family a lot. Hearing so many people also struggle motivates me to get off my butt. And as Reese said, invest in myself. Well, did Reese really say that? That doesn't sound so Reese-ish. I kind of like it. Sounds a little too positive to be my Reese. I'm kidding. She's been very positive lately. She really has. No, we try to be careful in here. Let me explain this to everybody. We try to be careful in here. I'm not a doctor, right? I can't come in here and say, boy, you know what you really need to try? I'm not a doctor. So what I do is I come in here and I say, what you really need to do is talk to your doctor, right? Swiss vape. But first, a little Christy Hughes for my mods. I had 2 peeps go out on fentanyl. I'm so sorry, Christy. I wish there was somebody here that did not know somebody. Yes, I have been known to I don't insult the creepy old lady's embroidery. I just mentioned that she embroiders on jeans. I can't help myself. It's a Dr. Hook thing. I'm glad to be on this boat. Stay sober and stable. Swiss Vape. If you've not seen the video and the interview that I did with Swiss Vape, go back and watch it. It's amazing stuff. Man did an awful lot of drugs and booze. It's worthy of hearing because it's almost staggering the amount he was taking, and he has eliminated group after group after group of drug. Yeah, I'm with a chameleon. This is simplifying a 50-year struggle that doesn't fit into it's a temporary problem. It's hurtful, frankly. I'm sorry, Pork Chop. I really am. Christy Hughes, I understand that too. You know what? Sometimes that's not such a bad thing just to say, huh? I'm not gonna lie. I'm lost. And I've been lost for a hot minute. Steve's death kicked my butt. Buddha's death kicked my butt as bad as anything has ever kicked my butt on the lifeboat. And I have not, I haven't really, like, you don't get over any of this, right? I'm sorry, Anne Marie. I mean, Anne Hummingbird. I'm sorry. We're making everybody cry more. I'm learning to live with the loss of my friends. Right? But it seems like every time we start getting a little bit closer, you know what? We point. We really should have a number, right? Stand in for a swift kick in the scrotus, in the old onions. Maybe a 7. Would Seventh Son put up with 7th? How do you feel about that? I feel like 7 is kind of your number, but I do think that wouldn't be such a bad thing to say. Every once in a while when you see a jackwagon, if we all just start throwing 7s up. Hey, Lori, don't apologize for a long email. Thank you for sending pictures of your niece. It made it real. People talk to me all the time about people that have passed. When someone sends me a picture of someone who we lost to the war on drugs, it becomes completely different. It's just different, you know. It really is. And yeah, Mo love. Hey Mo, you know what? It's a hard world, hun. It really is. It's a hard world, and you have found the boat. Like you found the boat. Yeah, you are max headroom today, Calvin. You found the boat at the time you needed it last time. It seemed almost like divine intervention, didn't it? Okay, well, then stick around because you really do have family here, right? It's I saw it, Lori, and it is long. It's okay though. We will need a list of what the numbers mean, says Miss Dragon. We do. I think you're absolutely right. I need to get that up. What does the lifeboat mean? I'm not playing anything. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about now. If I said something to offend you, I don't have any idea what I said. I'm happy you're here, right? I'm happy you're here. You found the place that you're supposed to be. You found it the first time you were supposed to. You have found it the second time you're supposed to. We are of the firm belief that you can pick family. We believe this is your family. If anything I just said upsets you, I don't know why. But that's exactly what I was saying a moment ago. Oh, in the chat. Forget it. Don't listen to me. Chat is text. You hear me? Listen to this. Chat is text. Chat is text. Chat is text. We can really fart around, right? With inflection. As a speaker, you can change so much with what you do, right? You can bring people in. You can slow people down, right? Can't do any of that with this stuff, right? So listen, let's with all due respect, I think from time to time, I I take things really personally. It's an issue I have, right? And there are a lot of people that know this. My buttons get pushed. It is what it is. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Hey, thank you, Drops. That does help. Absolutely. We are doing Cars for Heroes next month. Very cool. Do it in the name of Yahusha. Love it. Absolutely love it. And if you're wondering, you know, that's Yahusha is my savior, people. I figure you probably know, but just in case you don't. Your mods keep this a safe place. You know what, Christy? My mods are fantastic. They really are. I have been all kinds of blessed, you know. Text can be a brashness amplifier. Drops, thank you again. And not just for the 50, but for all of the conversation tonight. Everything you brought to the conversation. Really appreciate it. Brazy Girl says, you know what ideation and attempt one does not see, feel, hear any of it. It's not the coward's way out. Sure, those left behind are effed, but unless you've been there, the bowels are deep. I agree with you. I have been there. I think it's the coward's way out. I'm sorry, I do. But we can agree to disagree. I love you and we're friends, you know. And here's this. I think that there may be a point in everybody's life where they have to make that decision, right? I have a thing that, you know, I remember when they said to me, you know, in 7 to 8 years you're going to be in a diaper, and I promise you that was my first thought, was not ever going to be in a diaper, right? When that time comes, I will go about it a different way, right? But that doesn't mean that I was choosing the brave way out. I wasn't, but um, the Sergeant Major. I have a lot of lost time these days as well. Lost my best friend and my mom 1 year ago. 1 year and my mom the next. Buried my mom's ashes actually 3 years ago tomorrow. I only wish it was April Fool's prank. Me too, bud. I am really sorry. It's awful. Um, you know what? Here's something else, though. From time to time, right? Thank you, Mona. From time to time, people, and this happens with what we do. Um, with what we do, this back and forth and all of this stuff. There are times where the appropriate thing is going to go like this. Okay, whatever. If you don't understand exactly what I just said, rewind it, watch it a couple of times, maybe journal. When the time comes that it feels weird, just go okay and move on. I promise it always works better. Uh, Jen Marie says I have 3 funerals in the next 7 days. I can't even begin to tell you how much that hurts my heart for you. I'm not a fan of funerals. I really am not. Oh no, what do we got here? What do we got here? Haven't made gefilte fish in decades, but matzo ball soup I can do. 4 Jen's back, so I have a license to matzo ball. I'll tell you something. I will mess up matzo ball soup like no one you've ever met. I'm a fan. I am a fan of matzo ball soup. I am a fan of matzo ball soup. I pretended to be Jewish in prison so that I could eat it. I think I've told all you guys this. I ate kosher for 3 years. For 3 years in prison, I was on the kosher diet. And you know what the best part of that was? Guess who ordered the kosher meals for the prison? This guy. I was actually the dude that I got to put in all of the orders and everything else. I'm not going to lie to you, Mona. Didn't order a lot of gefilte fish. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Vape, I'm so sorry to hear this. He says, my water got trashed by some strange guy at work on Saturday. Totally horrible. Went to see the doc. I was panicking so hard. Recovering still. Horrible substance. Thank God it didn't kill you, brother. People, we really got to start looking at drinks before you. Don't ever leave anything anymore. All right. You really got to be careful when you walk away from a drink. Awakened by the Looking Glass says it's hard to do sometimes, especially when you have done all you can think of and your ants get too much. Sometimes we do stupid crap. Sometimes we are human. Sometimes we are the monsters under the bed. I think more often than not, we're the monsters under the bed, right? If you really want to know the truth, I think more often than not we are. But here's the thing with ants. Here's the thing with all of it. And this is so frustrating. It really is. If this doesn't make you hate me, it should, right? Lori Lee quit vaping 4 weeks ago. Good for you. You're gonna really have my kid fired up. He's ready. He's wanting to do that too. The doc told you had a massive overdose. Vape. Thank God you're alive, man. For real. It's an ugly world right now, right? Here's the deal. How do we get rid of ants? You know the answer to that, right? The same friggin' way every single time. Don't know how you do it. I know how I do it, right? And I've told you guys how I do it. I journal. I don't look at the same 4 walls. I get up and I walk out. Hey, Mo, remember when I said there's a point at which you go, all right, we're done talking about it? That's what I was getting at. Apparently, I wasn't clear enough, but we're beating a dead horse and it's ineffective at this point. Here's the deal. Everybody listen up. We don't ask questions like, what drugs do you do? Even if it sounds like we have to think in terms of who just showed up, walked in the room, and saw someone that just got to the lifeboat going, yeah, what kind of drugs are you doing? Right? So we have been across the board very careful about questions when others ask somebody else what they're using to alter their mind. The algo gets really kind of jinky on that. So that's all we're trying to get at. I love you, Mo. I love you. I just don't want to see us going back and forth. No, I know. Look, people, do you see how this gets? This is why when I say there's never a 5 back and forth, all Calhoun was doing was saying, let's not ask. Yeah, okay. Hey, Mo, whatever you said, it's time to let it go. Do you understand? Or do you not? This is where we get off the rails, people. Okay, chalk all this up to a misunderstanding. The next comment isn't effective, right? Right? Let it go. Thank you. Let it go. All right, so listen. The ant problem, we do the same thing every single time. It's rinse and repeat, right? It is hard, but it's rinse and repeat. We have a checklist we go down. So when I have automatic negative thoughts, if you're new to the boat, the concept of the ant, the automatic negative thought, think of it as an ant. It makes a great visual image because you literally have this thing crawling over your gray matter, and it's saying things like, "You're worthless," right? You're not good at anything. Mom hated you. She liked your sister more. She liked your brother more. This is the whatever your button is, the ants push it. You're going to die alone, right? I struggle with this one. I've run a lot of women out of my life. The idea that there's a good chance I'm probably not gonna, find that soulmate kind of a thing. This is a recurring ant thing. You're gonna die alone, right? You're not lovable. These are the kinds of things that ants get to you on, right? So what you got to do is figure out a way to get those ants to stop talking. I have always found that if an automatic negative thought is the issue, get rid of the automatic, right? Get rid of the negative, right? So make it not automatic, but make it by design. I literally start putting positive thoughts into my head. It's the exact opposite of an automatic negative thought. I will sit there and say out loud, you know what? You are lovable. You are a good person. You're a good person. All of that crap you did in the past is gone. It's done. And if that doesn't work, then I got to go like this. Okay, there's something wrong with these 4 walls. I'm looking at 4 walls that are now causing me a problem. I got to get out of here. I will stand up. I will get out of that room. What happens? Well, now I see different things. And my brain has to go, okay. Believe it or not, people, when you walk into a room, the first time you walk in and you look around, your brain takes in everything, right? Well, if you glance back a second time, it's a different process in the brain. Think about it. Obviously, be very logical that you don't have to look the second time because your brain already took everything in. Okay, we'll go somewhere else. Walk out and look at a whole new different thing and see what happens. Right? Mona, thank you. Do you see this? This is, remember Mo, earlier you said, where do you find people like that? Right here. Right here, Mo. There's one. Mona says, Tommy, I am here for you and or anyone who needs a lifeline anytime, anywhere. That's a beautiful thing right there. That is a beautiful thing. So your ants are always super personal, right? They're always super personal, but they're not unique. Everybody has them. Mona is lovely, isn't she, Mo? Valerie says, my ants feel really personal and unique, but they aren't. I'm not special. Well, except I do focus too much on my fear of Mothman. I don't know. Mothman's a little bit creepy. I don't think that there's never been a Mothman fan my damn self. Calhoun, you Mothman fan? He's not either. Okay, kind of checks out. I wish you could see how much he looks like Max Headroom. It's kind of freaking me out. He really is. It's kind of creepy. And now he pulls it up and it looks like a picture. I mean, honestly, you pull it up and now when it wasn't up, he was doing this one. Hold on one second. You know what? So knock that off, Calhoun. You're giving me a headache. Thank you. That's the spirit. Good Lord. It really is like watching Max Headroom. Sarah Bareilles, I probably said that name wrong, has a song called King of Anything that I used to shout at the ant voices. Who died and made you king of anything? You know what's funny? I don't know who she is, but I know that song. And I guarantee you, I don't know anything else she ever did, right? I really do not know anything else that she ever did. But that is a song that the video of that song was it was being played every single Saturday morning in prison. We were on lockdown, and whoever had put the TVs to whatever they set it down, it was 6 months that we were on that TV on that channel. It was not getting changed for any reason, and it was directly across from my cell window. So I would put my earphones in to listen to it, and it was music around the clock. And that song, King of Anything, and the video to it, of that song, she's singing, and they're filming her through glass, like French pane windows. And the one pane that they chose to film through the entire thing has a huge spot on it, like a dirty mark on the French pane. This was torture for 6 years. I mean, for 6 months. All I could think about, that video would come on and I would roll over and look out the cell window like, that damn window. I wanted so badly to clean it. So yeah, here's my King of Anything. My Sarah Bareilles story. Very attractive girl, but I had no idea who she was. That's the only song I've ever heard of hers, but I like that song. Pretty girl too. Automatic negative thoughts. Ants, automatic negative thoughts. You dressed up as Tinkerbell for your 21st birthday? I think if you dressed as Tinkerbell for your 21st birthday, you should have to bring a picture. I'm just saying, I think, you should have to bring a picture to show the entire class. I think that would only be fair. I am a huge Tinkerbell fan. I'll just have you know that. I love Tink. I think she's fantastic. Big fan of Tinkerbell. I've been telling my aunts to shut the hell up. It makes me smile and gets me through it for a bit. Deeming, I've done that. I've been caught doing that in a parking garage with nobody around at like 5 o'clock in the morning, getting my bag to drag it into an airport, right? And literally going, shut up! And having somebody look over at me like, who is that dude talking to? Yeah. Well, how about that? Laughter's not such a bad thing, Mo Love. It's one of those things that we shouldn't do it in moderation. But other than that, it's great stuff. Actually, every addict who is sober for even just one day is, for that day, a freaking champion. They just defended their title. Show up tomorrow and defend it again. I swear to you, Tommy Bird, that has been my, well, I was about to say, anyway. That has worked in the past beautifully. I really think that that's a good thing, man. Tommy Bird, you're on fire. I like it. Rose K, I'm glad you're here. When I remember giving my aunts to Darth Sidious and make him sit in the corner and do his worst, makes it sound childish for me. I like it. I really do. Yeah, give him a name, stick him in the corner. I mean, you realize if that seems silly to you, then you don't understand just how silly the concept is. We have thoughts in our heads we can't control. That concept is silly in and of itself. Yeah. So I promise you the cure probably going to look silly the first couple of times you do it because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Stuart Smalley, Saturday Night Live. By the way, to all of my friends from Los Angeles, California, who think I was picking on all of California based on just a couple of people from LA and the way that they talk, which is silly, and not everybody in California does that. We were doing the Californians thing. Now, it's a Lorne Michael skit on Saturday Night Live. I wasn't picking on all Californians. I really was just picking on Laura FM. That's really who Alan was picking on. But yes, and it was Lorne Michaels and it was the Californians. What are you doing here? Great characters, very, very funny. Shut up, brain. There you go. You love the Californians. I do too. In all honesty, I really get I get a kick out of that. The Lifeboat song should be Sting's Message in a Bottle. I like that song. Message in a bottle. Oh no. Oh no, you have earworm issues? No, man, just sing that song till you go to bed. You know what you do if you have earworm issues? Put a great song in there and just fall asleep to it. Maybe a little Etta James. Huh? Fall asleep to a little Etta James. Nobody goes to sleep with Etta and is bummed out about it. You live in California, but you're a Coloradan. A Coloradan. There you go. Did you see the Nate SNL one? Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. Yes, all the conversations lead to freeway directions. See, this is what started the whole Alan Ballantyne joke thing, was because I would say that to him, well, we got to get on the 105 and take that to the 5, and there's no other place in America where people talk about how they get where they're going quite like California, because there's so many ways to get there and everybody thinks they got a better name. But that's the funniest part. Yeah, I jumped on Mulholland, took it all the way down to the 5. Then I get off by In-N-Out Burger. Oh, yeah, it absolutely kills me. I love that stuff. So it's a small world after all. You're down for that being our theme song, says Christy Hughes. And you know what? I love Christy. So I'm not at all against, I am not even at all against having number one, a song. Stewart's dad, played by Mick Jagger, was absolutely fantastic. Mick was over the top. Downeaster Alexa, Billy Joel. Ooh, that's a really great song. I like, wow, what did I do? Oh, that was you, huh? Downeaster Alexa is a beautiful song. Al Franken was Stuart Smalley. To be sure, he was. Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. Can't go wrong with Satchmo. You cannot go wrong with Louis Armstrong. I love Billy Joel too. Billy Joel is my favorite entertainer, my favorite musician. Go ahead, send me the emails. Hi, that's the for those of you of a certain age, that's pretty much the Nickelback of my generation, right? Everybody kind of, when I was a kid, you just caught a lot of crap if you were a Billy Joel fan, but. Somebody wrote a version of The Love Boat with Lifeboat lyrics. I can't remember who did it, and I can't remember where it is, but somebody did that a couple of years ago. It was actually pretty good. But we are all trying to send out an SOS. Message in the bottom. DMV. Who's down with DMV? Do you know what DMV is? Would that be Dallas? DMV. Department of Motor Vehicles. I can't get past Department of Motor Vehicles. But King and Country together? I don't know that song. Casey, I don't know that song. I had every Billy Joel vinyl up until Innocent Man. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I had him on everything vinyl. But we. Yeah, I have a great voice for DC. Okay, Virginia. Okay, gotcha. So you live in a weird place, Mo. If you get in trouble, you go to prison and the feds. Well, you guys don't have your own prison system there. Ball and Chain. You talking about the Sublime version? That's not bad either. Turned into a ball and chain. I slip into the great unknown. That ball and chain I call my home. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Hey! Johnny Scoville and I are on leaving this weekend to go to a studio and record the all of that. We weren't announcing that until tomorrow, but I may as well announce it now. I will be out of town this weekend coming up, and that's all I'm doing. I'm doing nothing else. I'm going out of town to do the ASMR stuff. We're doing it on the East Coast with our agent. Believe it or not, we have an agent. How odd does that sound? But I have an agent. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, big bada boom. And then we will go out there and get that bada bing boom. You got it, Calhoun. Yay! Sublime was also ended by heroin. Yes, it was. Bradley, sadly, we lost to set an open course for the Virgin Sea. Not bad, Gene. Not bad. Uh, it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes. Yeah, that's a heart-wrenching song because I learned it when I was 6, and those lyrics didn't mean anything at the time. Walked through Bedford style alone. Even rode my motorcycle in the rain. She said, "You're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley." And now I'm waiting for my Ruka. I understand that his son Jacob is now singing in Sublime. I'll be honest, I thought Rome was great. I really did. I thought Rome was fantastic. But I'd love to hear. I would love to hear his kid. I really would. Sorry, Calhoun, I didn't mean to put you up. I don't know who I was trying to put up, but somehow I got you. I was voted best singer in my high school. How about that? No joke. When did I learn to sing? I was a singer. That was actually something that I did. I honestly was, no joke, voted best singer in my high school. That was one of the things that I won. So I've been singing I don't sing well. There was probably a time that I did. I used to take it pretty seriously, and then you party and you smoke a million cigarettes, and yeah, Bradley was talented. He really was, and he just had I don't know, his I saw Sublime when Bradley was still alive. It was just a really different kind of show, right? It was just different. He was I don't know, just different. He was different. It reminded me a lot of a friend of mine who his name was Wally, and Wally was from the Pacific Northwest, and he used to. Miss D is asking for help. Where are we at? Miss D, please help me. Well, okay, Miss D, what can we do for you? This is the time, Calhoun, that I kind of wish I had the phone thing. This is not on Calhoun. This is on me, by the way, because I was going to do that today. I was going to fire up the phone thing for this. We are nice, Miss D. So, and I'm willing to help. So, but you got to tell me where you're at and what's going on. So, ride, Captain, ride upon your mystery ship. You can't fire up phones while I'm here, can you, Calhoun? I don't know that you can do that, bud. I think we have to start. I'm the wrong person to say that. You should know that. No, not good. 4 days asking for help, and this is the first. You've been asking here for 4 days, and we haven't helped you. Well, I'm really freaking sorry. I'm asking you right now. Would you like to tell me again that we're not helping you, or would you like to tell me what's wrong with you? Seriously, with all due respect, that's about how much I got patience for that. I help everybody that asks. If I missed you in the last 4 days, sorry. You want to tell me what's wrong, or would you like to find a channel that maybe you think will do it quicker? Huh? If it sounds like I'm being disrespectful, I am. So, yeah, acknowledge of your calls, huh? So here's what we're going to do, Miss D, right now. Send me an email as we're speaking with your phone number. We're going to let everybody hear that you did it. I'm waiting to get the ding. When we get it, I'm going to hang up and call you. Right? But, so send me that email right now to sober@myyahoo.com. Please. And we'll knock this out right now. Okay? That'll make me super happy. What are we singing that I missed, Tina? You may be crazy, but I just might be what you are looking for. You may be crazy, but it just might be a lunatic you're looking for. Turn out the lights. That one. No, just try to save me. You may be wrong for all I know, but you may be right. Good tune. Calhounis, are you checking that for me? Let me know when we get that email. We got it? All right, people. All right. No, we have not got it yet. Sorry. No, you didn't sound rude. You're good. Slow typer happens to the best of us. Look at the size of these puppies, huh? I don't know if you've seen these, but Lou Dog. I have seen pictures of Lou Dog. When I saw them, they were at a house party, and I think I saw them pre-Louie. I don't think Lou Dog was yet a part of the Sublime family, but yeah, you're a fool, so don't screw around with my dog. The noises Lou used to make were always fairly impressive to me. Well, I'm terribly sorry, Seventh Son. I'm a worthless shit these days anyway. I think we've all pretty much got that under control. You know, I've not been particularly good, kind, or anything else of late. But you know, we can. Well, I'll be damned. You loved the dog clips that they used. Yeah, all of that stuff. You know, I'm a big fan of the band. I thought that just about anything. I was a fan. If you feel like giving me a lifetime of devotion, I second that emotion. All right, everybody. This here, right there, that's a cat in a basket. See that? This is the ear of a cat in a basket. Yeah, I know. What do you say? That is the most spoiled animal in North America. Oh, that's the Halloween cat stretch. There's my girl. All right, people. That's the news. And I am out of here. We'll see you guys on the next one, huh?